Hi everyone, welcome to the video. This one is about my stock photography and videography earnings for the month of January 2025. Happy New Year everyone. I hope it's turning out to be a good start for you guys. January is typically a slow month for me, particularly with Shutterstock, because all of the commission rates go down to the lowest level. So you could be selling double the amount of imagery that you normally do, but you'll be only getting a fraction of what it was worth, say, in December of 2024. So with that in mind, keep your expectations pretty low for my earnings for January 2025. I'll first tell you what I've been up to in January. And I've been a little bit distracted because my record button keeps turning off. No, but I've also been distracted because I've been putting together a photo exhibition of my images over the last 10 to 15 years. And it's taken a lot more time than expected. And it covers a range of topics from here in the Netherlands to abroad and also Tasmania. It's been a lot of fun just going through the hard drives and having a kind of trip down memory lane. I've also been busy doing a field review of the Canon 18 to 200mm super zoom lens, which I decided to take with me to Tasmania instead of my two lens setup, the Sigma 17 to 50mm 2.8 and the 70 to 200mm, which reduced the weight that I was carrying by about half. Just instead of carrying my little day pack around everywhere, all I had to do was tote around this little bag, and that fit the Canon 70D and the 18 to 200mm lens nicely. So it was quite a minimalist thing, and despite a few minor issues with image quality, I'm really happy with the setup. I'm not sacrificing too much image quality by the 18 to 200, except I guess when it comes to firstly low light and secondly close up photography. My Sigma 17 to 50 is a better semi-macro lens than the super zoom, and the f2.8 apertures obviously are better performers in low light. Anyway, that review is to come out later, hopefully this month, if I get a window of opportunity to do that. Let's get into my earnings for January 2025. And we'll start out with Adobe Stock. For Adobe, I had 35 downloads or sales, and my portfolio consists of 1,458 images and 138 videos. And the first highlight for Adobe is a photo I took with the 18 to 200mm super zoom. And it's just a standard photo of trees. So what made this photo sell? Well, I don't think it was just the image of the trees looking up from the ground. I think it was more to do with the types of trees and the location that they were in. Tasmania is a off the beaten path kind of place, and I'll often talk to people who go to Australia and never visit Tasmania. So for me as a stock photographer, that is a good thing, because it means that Tasmania has kind of a low saturation in the stock agencies for, say, compared to the main touristy sites. So I put in the keywords for those trees, as much info and also in the description as I could about the location and the type of trees that they were. They were called mountain ash or they're a eucalyptus called a mountain ash, and they're the second tallest trees in the world after the giant redwoods or the sequoias on the Californian coast. Another highlight was of some sheet music that I found just randomly lying around somewhere. And what I did was I waited until we were visiting a very ancient building here in the Netherlands, and it was an old, like, 16th century museum. And what I did was I took this sheet music and I would place it in areas around this museum, like in windows, with this kind of nice light through these ancient windows that gave a real kind of Middle Age view of the image. Not Middle Age, but kind of a golden era in the 16th centuries, for example. And just going that extra mile, I think, sold this photo. By the way, the tall trees image was sold for $1.07 as a commercial image. And this image of the music in the old building is 99 cents for Adobe Stock. And even though I looked a bit strange photographing these sheets of paper in different places around the museum, and I think I got shadowed by the security quite a lot because they just couldn't figure out what I was up to, I think in the long run that inconvenience and discomfort is worth it. Another image that I'm happy with was an outdoor exhibition of American old-timers in The Hague. And I think in the summer they get together once a month in a public space, which is good, so that means I can take editorial images. And I photographed this, I think it was an American Pontiac, don't quote me, parked on the footpath of this street. And you don't really know it's an exhibition, but you do notice that the cars near it are also old-timers. That sold for $1.03. And just testing out the macro or semi-macro capabilities, or the close-up capabilities of the 18 to 200 super zoom. My brother was cooking some eggs and bacon on the barbecue, so I thought I would photograph them. And then, because I have an egg white intolerance, I took a lot of the egg whites off the egg yolks and put them on the barbecue as well. I don't think this is uncommon. I think there's a lot of people around the world with the same intolerance. So I included that in the keywords and the description as well. And I sold 3 of those photos with the super zoom of the eggs and bacon for a total of $3.50. And last but not least, for Adobe Stock, I sold a recent photo that I took in Tassie of the convict slave labour built bridge, the Spiky Bridge. And this Spiky Bridge is one of those projects that the British were helpful in motivating the convicts to build. And that was I think a commercial, I'm not sure actually, it could be editorial. There might be some kind of copyright on that. Anyway, it earned me $1.46. This video is proudly brought to you by Andrew Balcombe's free air guitar course with demos. In this course I show you how to do Smells Like Teen's Toe Fungus, Enter Xander, and the all-time favourite, While My Guitar Gently Screams. If you want to learn air guitar like me, or a pro, have a look in the description, there'll be nothing there. In total for Adobe Stock in January, I earned $34.66. And now on to Pond5. Well, in comparison to last month where I sold 5 videos, including 2 videos for $60 each, January was a bitter disappointment and I did not sell any video assets on Pond5. And now on to Alamy, similar bitter disappointment. No sales with Alamy either. And now onto iStock Getty. Some of the highlights were an editorial photo of an electric delivery vehicle, kind of weird looking thing with narrow sides. And you'd think if it goes around the corner it'll tip over. That sold for 71 cents as an editorial. Another commercial photo, sand dunes at sunrise, for 49 cents. And an editorial of an AMC Pacer vehicle, which is kind of a goofy American vehicle that never sold very well. Quite rare, probably in the States also now. It was sold back in the 80s. Very rare in Europe. It featured in the film Wayne's World, and that photo sold for $1.70 as an editorial. In total for iStock Getty, I made $10.98. And now on to Shutterstock, and I explained earlier that the commission rates have gone through the floor in January for Shutterstock, so just bear that in mind. I sold 48 assets, including 2 videos, and my portfolio is 2,926 photos and 340 videos. As you can see, it's a really small portfolio. My video portfolio is slowly climbing up, but it just seems like I'm really slow building up those assets. Hopefully quality is better than the quantity in this case. Video sales were very disappointing. I sold a commercial video of the Atlantic salmon swimming in clear water, which I took in Tasmania. That sold for $2.04. And a favourite of mine, I was walking in the dunes one day. It was late summer, I think, or maybe early summer. And I saw this huge toad just waddling along on the path. And I think it was a female. She may have been looking for a place to lay her eggs. Anyway, she was just cruising along this path. And I just put my phone on the ground in front of her and waited for her to walk towards the phone and then eventually past it. It's a really unusual video and probably not something many people see in the middle of the daytime. That video only earned me $1.38 as a commercial. For pics, I sold an editorial image of a low emission zone in Edinburgh in Scotland, 96 cents. I also sold one of the first photos I made with the 18-200 super zoom in the harbour of Rotterdam, where I got a lot of hares and pheasants in the foreground in kind of a nature area in the middle of the harbour. And in the background were the giant cranes that lift containers off the ships. That was a commercial photo, and that sold for only 10 cents. But it just goes to show that if you do upload new stuff, that it will get bought on Shutterstock. And I think also for Adobe Stock, a lot of my new uploads were being bought as well. So that's a good sign. Also, that photo covers a lot of bases. You've got animals and wildlife. You've got game animals, like for hunting. Hare and pheasant are popular hunting animals. And you've also got industrial with the ship port of Rotterdam. So a lot of areas covered with that image. I sold 2 photos of a wooden house being built in Tasmania on the east coast. With the 18-200mm, so it's working out well so far, that lens. They sold for 36 cents, 18 cents each. And another photo of a container mansion on the east coast of Tasmania. You often see these container apartments or single container built mini houses, or tiny houses I think they're called. But this house consisted of about 6 or 8 containers stacked on each other. So it really was a mansion. So the uniqueness of that is just complete. So I put that in the keywords, I put the location as well. So it's, you know, it's got to sell just for its strangeness. That only sold for 18 cents, but it's early days. So if I sell a lot of assets, obviously my commission rates go up the longer they get sold, and as we proceed through the year with Shutterstock. I also sold a rare photo of an anti-whaling and anti-fish poaching ship called the Sea Shepherd, which was berthed in Hobart, and that goes out into the Southern Ocean and tries to stop vessels from illegally whaling or fishing for Patagonian toothfish off the South American coast. So quite important work, and I sold that photo for only 18 cents. Sold an editorial of a wombat crossing sign, pretty unique, 18 cents. And finally a panorama that I took with my iPhone SE 2020 of the seaside resort of Kike Down, which sold for $1.60, and I'm really happy with selling a panorama. In total for January with Shutterstock, I made only $15.09. Well, how much did I earn for January 2025? Well, if anything in this video is helpful to you, please feel free to subscribe, like and share this video, and that will really help me in the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, I only made $60.73 this month. I'm not too disappointed. I did sell quite a lot of assets, and I think as the year goes on, a lot of those Tassie shots are going to do well for me. How did you guys do? Please let me know all about it in the comments, and I look forward to reading them, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!